Thank you, Chair Lavanino. Thank you for the work you guys have done on this and for the explanation on what was selected by Public Works staff as locations. Can you help me with what the criteria that was used over at the Los Olivos school? Because school zones, obviously areas of concern, but they're not necessarily always, where there's been an injury or fatality. So how do we pick and choose which schools that we're lowering the speed limit at and the ones that we're not?
The state allows a reduction from the 25 mile per hour standard to 15 miles per hour when you have a 25 mile per hour adjoining roadway to the school. And with the changes, we were able to have a 25 mile per hour business district, Los Olivos, which gave that step. And then now we can reduce it down to 50 miles per hour for that school zone. We've done that with all the school zones in the county that have 25 miles per hour approaching the school on the roadways. So this one's just dynamically changed with the laws that we're recommending that we do that here.
Okay, so I've got some questions about Olga Reed and Los Alamos. And how would this potentially impact that, and why didn't that qualify? It's coming off of the state highway, both Centennial, I believe, and Helena.
Yeah. The speeds on Centennial, what would that be, east of, north of? The school is higher than 25 miles per hour. The joining speed limit has to be 25 miles per hour to get down to the 15 miles an hour. If it's higher than the 25, then you got to use the 25 miles per hour when children are present to lower it down.
So
which is what's currently out there.
So there's no mechanism here to lower the speed limit adjacent to the school?
Correct.
There's not in this?
That is correct.
Okay. So we don't have any additional discretion to do that in this spot, but we were able to do that at Los Olivos. Those were lower enough in adjacent neighborhoods. I guess I'm trying to understand that a little bit. So
yeah, we're coming from a stop intersection basically to the business district. So we have a 25 mile per hour approach, and then we're lowering that down to, whereas Centennial is just a continuous roadway with a higher speed limit than 25.
Okay, I believe there's some stop signs there too, though. But and I guess my request would be that you guys take another look over there at Los Alamos with the school there. It's it's a rural area without sidewalks. High speeds are obviously those who are going up to the county park or trying to go all the way up Drum Canyon to cut across to the valley another way. So it's definitely an area of concern that I heard about. I have heard about, and I understand that just lowering the speed limit doesn't necessarily slow people down, but it is a tool that we should be employing if we have the discretion to do so.
Supervisor Nelson, through the chair, we will be looking at Los Alamos. We also do have a ATP project coming to that area that Caltrans will be implementing, but also includes work on Centennial. And as we go through that process, we'll also be looking to do general safety improvements around the school as well.
Thank you.
Supervisor Hartman?
Let's see. I had just a clarifying question, and part of it had to do with schools, and I think I understand that now. So SB 43 allowed us to lower the speed limit by 5 miles an hour generally, and then the safety corridor is an additional 5, or are they one and the same?
It does allow reductions for considerations to pedestrians. Also, you can lower if you're in between the 85th percentile of the critical speed comes in between 2 5 mile per hour increments. You can lower it down to the lower one now without justification, but you can never lower it down more than 14.5 miles per hour lower than the 85th percentile.
Okay.
So we have that limit there. But the safety corridor is an additional 5 miles per hour on the other ones.
I'm trying to figure out how to explain this in a newsletter to my constituents who will be very interested, and wonder if you can provide the language for us. Others might be interested too. The formula is complex, and I hadn't fully appreciated how complex.
Chairman, Supervisor Hartman. Yeah, there is a lot of different parts to it, and it keeps on changing too over the years. And I believe the changes we've had, at least in the last few years, have been positive. Whereas a few years back, they were on the other side where we had to increase all our speed limits by 5 miles per hour. So I think a lot of the changes are
Yeah, I think of Assemblymember Hart, who is on the Transportation Committee in the Assembly, and, you know, especially by schools where they don't have sidewalks, I think Supervisor Nelson raised a really good point that, you know, maybe we need a little more discretion there, and that would be the kind of bill I think he would be delighted to carry.
Supervisor Capps?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to the team here, and I just want to appreciate your responsiveness when we've had many constituents who have expressed concerns about safety and speeding, and you've gone out there and you've taken a look. So I appreciate that this is now, you know, resulting in these changes. And my only question for you is just, what's the timeline for the changes? Is it just one day the signs are different, or is there more to it than that? And what's the sort of expected time for these changes to be made?
We'll be returning to your board for your final
Okay.
vote. After that, we have 30-day before we can put them into effect. And during that time, we'll be doing work orders and getting the signs ready for installation. But it will take us a little bit of time to go to all these sites. This is a pretty massive change
Yeah.
for us with our resources we have available. So it will be over maybe a couple months that we'll be making these changes. We also need to inform the courts and the enforcement of the changes and stuff, and get enforcement out there.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Williams?
I just want to tell you what a sea change this has been. I mean, you know, the change in law is significant. When I represented the area in the legislature on behalf of Goleta, we tried to get just speed limits just changed on Cathedral Oaks by the junior high because people were being so crazy, and we couldn't even get that done. You know, this is just such a welcome change to improve public safety.
May I ask, why is it so hard?
You know, the concern that people will abuse local discretion on speed limits, right? I think, you know.
Pretty old.
Yep.